Okay, well, let's begin on some phonogram and spelling review. Would you all take out your whiteboard and marker? And it looks like somebody dropped out of the call, Dikshita. I'm not sure what her connection issue is. Okay, our first phonograms for today are, we've got more single letter phonograms. We'll begin with P. 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 Sorry, I made that one too long. Just P.
I don't have my whiteboard, so I'm going to be using paper.
Okay, that works. Dikshita, can you hear us? P. Please say it as you write it. P. Dikshita, are you in the car?
Yes, Miss Garner.
Okay, sweetie. Do you have your supplies to do class?
Yes.
You have your supplies?
Yes. Yes, Miss Garner.
Okay. I hope you'll be able to do everything even in the car. We're going to do some phonogram and spelling review first. Can you take out your whiteboard and marker?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Everyone, please show me. Great job, Arshav. Excellent, Alexander, Kruthi, Alina. Thank you so much, Sahanasri. Should look like this. Everyone say P. Great. Next, let's do Qu. Never use Q without U. Alexander?
For everything but the phonogram, I just say like pa, just pa, just
So that you remember it's not a two-letter phonogram?
Yeah.
That's helpful. Yep, you are welcome to do that. Qu. Never use Q without U. Show it to me when you're done. Great job, Arshad, and thank you for keeping it up there. Thank you so much, Ariansh. Alexander, Alina, Sahanasri, excellent. Thank you so much, Emma. Samhita, Tig. Qu. Never use Q without U. Next, please write Z. Z. Dikshita, sweetie, are you able to do the work? Okay, are you writing the phonograms? Okay, hold it up as soon as you're done each time, please. Next, please write T. T. Hey, Dikshita, I see two of you. I'm not sure which one's best. Maybe the one that, oh yes, now it's removed. Okay, let's write T. And one more, please write the phonogram V. 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 We'll talk in science about even the science of sound with our lips and the sounds we make. So like V is vibration, notes between your teeth and lips. V. That's how it makes the sound. And t, 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 t is made with the inside of our mouth and our tongue. T. So we'll be hearing about the science of sound with our mouths as well. A funny part of, and you can erase your boards, by the way, we'll start doing some spelling word review. A funny part about that Alexander Graham Bell video is that he, at one point, wanted to see how sounds were made with mouths. And so he actually started to like move his dog's lips to make sounds. And it actually turned out to be like real words that he was able to make his dog say by moving his lips in a certain way. So obviously dogs would never have any human sounding words, but he was able to move the mouth in such a way that he made him say actually words. Do you think any of you could do that at home? If you have a dog, that is. You don't think so? Okay, let's start our first word for review today. I want you all to write rhapsody. Remember, we're going to use Greek rhapsody. Rhapsody. Marcus, do a few jumping jacks if it helps you to wake up. It looks like you are struggling right now. Yeah, good idea. Little stretch. And then write rhapsody. Excellent job, Samhita, Josiah, Alina, and Sahanasri. Good. It's the two-letter that, or Greek that we should use at the beginning. Whoa, Tyga's making his dog speak. In his little picture. Deekshita, sweetie, you need to make sure that you're holding it up when you're done, okay? I know it might be tricky if you're holding with one hand. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. That was fun.
If you could do that with fish, that would be amazing.
Oh, that would be cool. Rhapsody. Check that your spelling matches mine, boys and girls. This is kind of a tough one. Make sure that yours matches mine. Okay. Next, please write conscience. We think to spell science because the second syllable looks just like science. Conscience, conscience. That second syllable should look exactly like the word science, but then we pronounce it science, conscience. Great. Arshab, you're doing excellent. Alexander's doing excellent. Great job, Kruthi. Conscience. Very good. It's basically the short letter phonogram with a silent S in front of it. But we can think to spell it science. I think that's the helpful way to think of this one. Okay, let's use that base word to make it now conscientious. Conscientious. So this is the part that drops before we add sh and the us, O-U-S adjective suffix. Conscientious. And Dikshita, once again, as much as you can, show me the word every time you finish. I know the angle of it is a little bit tricky, but you did a good job with rhapsody. So show me the word when you're done. Conscientious. Hold it up as soon as you're done. This is a kind of tough one. So if you have any misspellings, it's okay. We'll go through it and correct it. Okay. So remember it's still that SC, like in science. And the shus should be now a tall letter sh. I see some people wrote another short letter sh, but it should be a tall letter sh. So if you made that mistake, can you correct it? Alina, I think maybe you forgot the C. Remember to still have the SC spelling pattern. That's okay. Just like the base word. So this part is exactly like the base word. And then we're going to add tall letter sh and the OUS adjective suffix. So if you made a mistake, don't worry about it at all, but go ahead and correct it. Rewrite it this way. Marcus, make sure you're holding it up after each time. It looks like maybe you're not writing. Conscientious. Your word should look like this. This is our way of being masters of these words so that by the time we get to a mastery test, we've done it so many times already. Great job. Okay, we've got a few more words that all will use, two more words that are going to use this two letters phonogram. Discern and discernible. Okay, please use that two letters like in science for discern and discernible. And we're going to use the able suffix, almost like the able suffix. Yes, Tig, I'd love to hear about your weekend after we're done. All right, let's write discern and discernible. Great job, Kruti and Samhita. I need to see everybody else's board as soon as you're done. If you're not sure of the spelling, just try your very best in sounding out discern. Don't look at your neighbors. Try your best in writing it and hold it up when you're done. Great job, Tig. Great job, Alina. Saha Nasri will have to make a change, but great job sounding it out. And great job, Marcus. We will have to make a couple changes, but thank you so much for sounding it out and writing it to the best of your ability. This one is discern. Check that your spelling matches mine. It's an I at the beginning. Great job, Rishith. Make sure you have this two letters. I know that part. We don't hear it. We just need to remember that it's a two letters. So Sahanasri and Marcus, would you make that change? I think both of you forgot the C, the letter C. Discern. And then I saw some people write an E there, but we should pronounce it I, discern. Okay, that's all of our review for today. Great job, Sahanasri. At this point, we're going to erase our boards and let's get ready for a new spelling lesson. And Tig, go ahead and share what we didn't get a chance to hear from you before. Yeah, Samhita, have some water as well.
It was a lot of fun. I got a new hoverboard and I got to stay up till 8:30 on Sunday because I was over at my friend's house watching the new Tom and Jerry movie.
Oh, that sounds really great. I see several other people give a big thumbs up for that. Is that something?
The Tom and Jerry movie was hilarious.
Tom and Jerry.
Oh, sounds like a lot of people were watching it.
It was.
Oh, what?
It was super funny. All the animals are little drawings on the screen, like cartoon drawings, and everything else is real.
Oh, so a lot of it is
so with
real.
the animals, yeah. So like for the animals, they can add a lot of things that would cost a whole bunch of money for the animals to do in real life.
Well, that sounds really fun. Hopefully, for those of you who didn't get a chance to watch it, maybe you'll watch it sometime. Sounds like everybody who did watch it gave a big thumbs up and we're excited. Ruthie loved it, it looks like. Harika loved it. So did Alina. Yeah, very cool. And it's fun to stay up late every so often, definitely. Okay, let's begin our new spelling lesson. Our first word is a homophone. The word is cord. Can you all say cord? Now, cord can mean two things. Does anybody know one meaning of cord? Emma?
Like a cord, like a wire almost.
Yeah, kind of like a wire. Like you might have a charging cord for your computer if you've got like a laptop.
I don't know the other cord.
The other type of cord you might know if you play music. Who knows what the other type of cord is, like the musical cord? Yeah, Rishit, that's one kind of cord. Alexander, do you know what the other one is?
Like a string, kind of?
Almost. It's like a bunch of notes all played together at the same time. Oh, yes, Ariansh, since you play piano, would you tell us about chords? And maybe since you've got your keyboard right there, you could even play us a chord.
So chord is really just some notes played together or played just one by one. So once you hit a note, you hit another note right after.
Yes.
And you keep on going.
Exactly. Can you play us a chord on your keyboard?
My keyboard's in the other room.
Oh, okay. Okay. I hope that your brother isn't sleeping or anything, right?
My brother is sleeping, but he's he's in the back room, which is far from this room, really
Okay,
far.
then yeah, we would love to hear you play a chord for us. So basically, like with piano, it would be several fingers on different keys at the same time. With guitar, it might be several fingers on, I think it's called the fret, right? I don't play guitar, but I think several fingers on the fret at the same time when you strum. So it's not just one note, it's multiple notes all together, and it changes the sound.
So the chord would sound like. So it just goes one by one, or it's like it has lots of notes connected, or just like this.
Yeah, you can do it kind of all in a row or all at once. That was great, Aryansh. Let's give him a hand. Thank you so much. That was a really good example. Okay, this type of chord, we're going to have ch, sh at the beginning, okay? Can you sound out chord? Chord, one syllable. Our sounds are k or d, three sounds. So the only thing that's a little unusual is that the beginning is a ch, sh. Okay? Please sound out chord as you write. Hold it up as soon as you're done. We're going to start doing that from now on. Alina, thank you so much. You already did it. That helps me to see that everybody finished and we're ready to go over the correct spelling. Hold it up and keep it there when you're done writing chord. Oh, Alexander, so close. We're going to write the other type of chord, which has ch, k, sh. Could you write ch, k, sh for the k sound? Need everyone to hold it up as soon as you're done with chord. Thank you, Sahanasri. Try your best to get it close to the camera. Great job, Alina. Looks like I might be waiting on Marcus, Harika, and Rishith. Great job, Dikshita. Great job, Harika. Marcus and Rishith, can you hold yours up? And Marcus, again, we should use our binder, not an index card, okay? Do you have your binder? Rishith, hold yours up, please. Rishith, would you hold your word up, please? Thank you. Yep, thank you. That's perfect. Okay, let's continue on. I think we're just waiting for Marcus, but he didn't have his supplies ready. So, cord. K or D. Cord. Check that your spelling matches mine. Great job. Marcus, every spelling lesson, we want to use that one instead, okay? So cord, here it is. Harika, would you mark it for us?
Yeah. Underline the
We call this ch, k, sh. Can you say that? Good. What else?
and underline the or.
Perfect. That's all. Cord is a noun. Okay. Our next word is embarrass. Would you all say embarrass? Embarrass. Okay, used as an action verb, embarrass, and then a lot of times we hear it as an adjective, embarrassed. So what does embarrass mean? Who can say it in their own words? Josiah?
I have 2 cats and 2 dogs and 3 hens, and they are very embarrassing.
Why are they embarrassing? Do any of you feel embarrassed if, I'm trying to think, if your sister or younger siblings maybe say something out in public that is just maybe not the right thing to say at that time? Kruthi, when have you felt embarrassed?
So one time we were like going out in the car, and so like some people were playing outside, and then my little brother said, "Hey guys!" That was so embarrassing.
So yeah, your younger brother going out and saying that. What else would be embarrassing? Alexander?
Well, I danced in a stage in front of lots and lots of people. When I used to go to Senator Gamble, I danced in front of the whole school. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, that shows a lot of confidence, but if you make a mistake, that would be embarrassing. I'm making a mistake in the dance. Okay, let's hear one more from Tig.
I do the nutcracker, so.
Good.
So one time I was at my friend's house. It was actually just a couple hours before I watched the Tom and Jerry movie. But don't ask, Mom. I'm just saying it a lot because a lot of things are related to it. Anyway, it was like an hour or two before it, and I was going over to my friend Eli's house because that's where we were watching it, and Maeve came over too, and she walked up to Eli's sister Miriam, and started just started not Miriam, Eli's mom, and started saying things like, I'm gonna be in kindy soon.
So yeah, little comments from your younger siblings I know definitely can be embarrassing. Okay, well, let's sound out embarrass. We're going to think to spell embarrass. Not an S sound at the end, but embarrass. Can you sound that out with me? Embarrass. 3 syllables. First syllable, the sounds are m. 2 sounds, basic code. M. Next syllable, b, a, r. 3 sounds. That's an R-controlled vowel that kind of changes the A sound. Embar. Next syllable, we're going to have another r. S. 3 sounds. We're going to double the S at the end too. Embarrass. So there's double R and double S. 2 double consonants. Okay? Pick up your pencil and write embarrass. Double R, double S. Hold it up when you're done. Great job for those of you who are already doing that. We're going to keep doing that with every spelling lesson. Marcus, you should be writing it now on your own. Don't just wait until I go over it with everybody. Great job for everyone who remembered double R and double S. Embarrass. Let's go over the correct spelling now. Syllable break. Syllable break. S. Embarrass. Check that your spelling matches mine. If you do not have a word that matches mine, cross it out and rewrite it. Okay. M is basic code. We actually need that first sound because it's an R-controlled vowel, embar. So this one is actually the silent one. That's different than usual. And then at the end of the word, the last S is also silent. Embarrass. This word is a verb, but to make it into an adjective, we can say embarrassing or embarrassed. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're ready for the next word. Okay, our next word is sovereign. Would you all say sovereign? Sovereign. Kruthi, great job. Right at the camera, I can see you sounding it out. Everybody follow Kruthi's example. Sovereign. Good. We think to spell this word sovereign, and it comes from that base word reign, like a king reigns over his kingdom, right? Because the word sovereign is a way of describing like a supreme ruler, like an emperor, sovereign. It can also be used as an adjective to describe someone who is like a king or an emperor who has all of this reign. They have lots of power. So sovereign, we think to spell sovereign. And picture that word reign in your head like a king reigning over a kingdom. Sound it out with me. Sovereign. 3 syllables. Or sorry, we don't have to do sovereign. Okay? Sovereign. 3 syllables. Okay, first syllable, of is basic code. Next, we have the of her. And last syllable, we shouldn't be writing yet, boys and girls. I see Tig and Alexander wrote it already. We shouldn't be writing yet. Next syllable, a, n. Now this is not a four-letter A. It's a, e that we do not use at the end of English words, and n, two-letter n, used both at the beginning and end of a base word, okay? Just like in the word rain. You'll pick up your pencils and write sovereign. I see some of you have the tendency to write a four-letter A, but that's not what we're doing. Right? It's A-E and n, two-letter n, just like in rain. Sovereign. Alexander, it's v, sovereign. Hold it up now as soon as you're done. Okay, sovereign. Hold it up as soon as you're done. Looks like I'm waiting for still a few more people. Please hold up sovereign. Marcus, you've got to write it when everybody else is writing it. Thank you so much. Okay. Sovereign. Syllable break. Syllable break. A, n. Sovereign. I see some people wrote a double just one R. Tig, would you mark the word for us if we pronounce it sovereign?
Yeah. The first syllable is sov. That's basic code. The second syllable is which is earlier of her. So we underline that. Then the last syllable is ain, which has sorry. So how do I say this? How do I say it again?
I think Kruti is relating with your younger siblings running around. We pronounce this A-E that we do not use at the end of English words.
A-E, not used at the end. A-E, not A-E.
That we do not use at the end of English words.
A-E that we do not use at the end of English words.
Excellent. We're going to put a thinking cap on it as well because we say sovereign. You are persevering and doing well despite all the noise, Tig. And finally, what about this phonogram?
Oh, that's a two-letter phonogram too. It's two-letter N.
That we use both at the beginning and end of a base word. This word can be a noun or an adjective. Great job, Tig. I hear your mom talking about your little sister being a snacking machine. That's cute.
Yes.
Okay, boys and girls, our last word for the lesson is syndicate. Can you all say syndicate? Syndicate is like a group working together towards something, kind of like we had with community. So it's something that they're all connected to something of the same purpose, working towards a goal. Syndicate. This is probably new for a lot of you. It is not a word that you would probably see very often in like a third grade level or any elementary level book. For syndicate, oh, sorry, I forgot to go back to my picture. Syndicate. Can you sound it out with me? Syndicate. 3 syllables. First syllable, Three sounds. The I is I-E. Okay? Next, I, two sounds. This I is just I-E, basic code. Last syllable, K-A-T. Three sounds. That's a K, S, and A says its name because of a silent final E, job one. Okay, so the main thing to keep in mind is the first I sound is I-E, like mystery. Please pick up your pencil and write syndicate. Syndicate. Okay. Syllable break. Syllable break. K-A-T. Syndicate. Please check that your spelling matches mine. Okay. For this word, could I have Arianch mark it? Excellent. I see you did your cursive already as well.
You underline the A in the third syllable.
Excellent.
Then you underline the T and double underline the E.
Good. And it's a job one.
Job number one.
Yep, you're correct. There's actually nothing to mark in the first two syllables. That's the only thing to mark. Okay, syndicate can be a verb or a noun. I'm running out of space, but I'll go ahead and put N and V on the side. Okay, please write your words in cursive, and then we're going to jump right into a new idiom for the week. Excellent job if you already wrote these words in cursive. So we've got ord, embarrass, sovereign. If you have a hard time with the O and B, how to connect it to other letters, you can take a look at that example. Since they end up at that middle dotted line, I know it gets a little bit tricky, but that's like V to E. That's how you connect them. And syndicate. Syndicate.
Miss Gardner?
Yes?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. This is Diksh, the dad. Actually, she felt like still in a drowsy mode. If you could record the class, she can complete the class. Is that fine?
Yes, she can complete it later. It'll have to be counted as an absence, but yes, it is currently being recorded. So I'll put it on the YouTube channel for her to watch later.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye. Have a nice day. Okay, for our idiom, we'll get into that next. Give me a thumbs up if you are finished with all four of these words. Great. Okay, so we've learned for the first one, first idiom, actions speak louder than words. Who can give that to me in their own words? Actions speak louder than words. Can you describe that one, Alexander?
It's where you say like, no, I didn't do it. I didn't spill the water, but people actually saw you did it. Actions speak louder than words.
That's right. Absolutely. Could somebody tell me an example of beating around the bush? What does that mean? To beat around the bush. Ariansh?
It means to tell what you actually mean. Don't just say something that you don't actually mean to say.
Yeah, beat around the bush is when you're not quite telling the truth. You're not flat out lying, but you're not really telling the truth. But we should do what you're saying, Ariansh, of tell the full truth. What about beggars can't be choosers? That was our last one that we did last week. Emma, what does beggars can't be choosers mean?
Did you say me?
Yes.
Like if you were to go outside and you didn't bring a jacket,
Yeah.
and you thought it was like way too big, you don't get to choose. It looked like you wanted it, so.
That's right. Yeah. If you're asking somebody for, their jacket or some help with something, you can't be picky about it and say, oh, not that one. If you're begging someone for something, you've got to just take what you get. Just like the phrase, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Very similar to that one. Okay, today we're going to hear one called, the new idiom is clean bill of health. Can you all say that? Clean bill of health. Now, this idiom refers to anyone or anything that is free of faults or defects. For example, here's one from the book. Before purchasing a used car, like if your parents purchase a used car that somebody else has driven, make sure a mechanic gives it a clean bill of health. You wouldn't want to buy a car that breaks down within the first week of buying it, right? So clean bill of health means there's not any major problems. This one actually came from about 200 years ago, and there would actually be bills of health certified that there were no infectious diseases that had been reported in the port from which a ship was about to sail. If a shipmaster sailed from a port that had been infected, he would get a foul bill of health. So his bill of health was that there were infections on his ship, and without a clean bill of health, the ship might be refused entry into a port, which is a really good connection actually to history. Because remember when you learned about Hernando de Soto, what happened when there were some infectious diseases that went from one country to another? What happened? Who remembers? This was from your Friday history class. Emma?
Other people got sick and started dying.
That's right. A lot of the Native Americans ended up dying because of these diseases that were brought from Europe, especially Spain and some of the Spanish colonies. So they needed a clean bill of health to show we can go to this new place and we're not going to bring diseases. Okay, let's write clean bill of health. Can you all write clean bill of health? And then I'll write it in cursive for you to check, but you should be able to spell each of those words on your own. I should see everybody writing clean bill of health. Sorry, I'm trying to get Rishith back into our meeting. He says he got kicked out. Yes, very good. Show me clean bill of health when you are done. Marcus, can you say clean bill of health? Great. Write that on your cursive page. Same page as we've been writing our spelling words. Notice that for mine, I've got spelling words in print, spelling words in cursive, and then I'm going to write the idiom on the exact same page. Clean bill of health. Hold it up so I can see everybody who wrote it. Boys and girls, it is your job to write it when I say it. Don't wait. We only have a very limited class time, so as soon as it is time to write, that's what you should be doing. Hi, Sahanasri. Did you hear the idiom? No? Okay, we're writing clean bill of health. Can you do that? It's an idiom that means basically without fault or flaws. Like a used car that's not going to break down on you has hopefully a clean bill of health. Your cursive idiom should look kind of like that. Great job, Alexander. Alina?
Oh, I wasn't raising my hand. I was just stretching.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that is all for your cursive today. We are going to take actually a little break from our normal grammar, which I put in Bright Thinker for you as well. This whole week, we are not going to open our well-ordered language workbooks. Or this whole week. We are going to spend the week focusing on some other grammar focuses. For example, today, looking at the difference between simple sentences, compound sentences, and what we call complex sentences. So we'll work on that for a few days. There are definitely some things in grammar that our well-ordered language book does not cover for 3rd grade. So we will be taking breaks every so often to cover some other grammar units. Yes, Aryansh? Boys and girls, by the way, you can take have a stretch.
I think you accidentally did this, but so that assignment of no pages in well-ordered language, it said on the second sentence that you now have well-ordered language pages.
Oh, I probably meant to say not, and I put now. Let me take a look at that.
It says you have now workbook pages today.
Oh, I think I meant no. You have no workbook pages for today. Thank you for pointing that out. Hopefully my next class doesn't get as confused. Okay, so we are going to be once again taking a little break. So no well-ordered language workbook pages all week. We are still doing grammar every day though. Yes, Tyke?
So when you said the clean bill of health and how like explained what it meant, I just realized this last Friday I got this, which is a book about which is a book about things that can kill you, and it apparently has a whole bunch of pages about diseases in it that started from when Christopher Columbus and Hernando de Soto were alive.
Oh, nice. That'll really relate well with what we're doing. That'd be fun to read later today. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, boys and girls, I want you to pin my presentation screen. You are going to be taking some notes in your binder. So I need you to keep your binder open as well. Okay? Now, there are three main types of sentences. We've heard about, what's a sentence versus what's a fragment. And a sentence needs to have a subject and predicate. Those are the principal elements, right? But we can actually add extra parts to a sentence to make it more complex. Alina, would you begin by telling us what a just simple sentence is, including the examples and the tip for finding simple sentences?
A simple sentence is it contains a subject and a predicate, expresses a complete thought.
What are the examples?
The boys went to the park. We like pizza.
Good.
And the tip is a simple. Wait, can I read the tip?
Yes, keep going.
Okay. Tip. A simple sentence is also called an independent clause.
Very good. Okay, so we haven't learned about clauses yet, but unlike a phrase, a clause actually has a subject and predicate in it, but maybe it's not on its own a sentence. So those sentences of we like pizza or the boys went to the park, we could analyze those, right? We know exactly how to mark those two sentences. They are just simple sentences. Now, Marcus, could you tell us what a compound sentence is? We have not seen this type of sentence in grammar before, but we're going to learn about it. So, Marcus, could you tell us compound sentence and read this entire middle section?
A compound sentence. Well, a compound is something that contains the two or more independent clauses. Clauses are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Examples: the boys went to the park, but they did not go to the zoo. We like pizza and we like spaghetti. Yes, look for three conjunctions for and the nor, but, or yet.
Good. Thank you, Marcus. Now, we have not learned about conjunctions yet, but we will in our next well-ordered language chapter. And basically, it is a little joining word like for and nor, but, or yet. I like to call them fanboys because that's what they would be all together. F-A-N-B-O-Y, fanboy. For and nor, but, or yet. So notice that basically it's one complete sentence and then another complete sentence. The boys went to the park. They did not go to the zoo. That little conjunction but combines those two independent clauses. So we call it a compound sentence because it's basically two sentences that could stand on their own, but you're putting them together because they have something to do with each other. So we just join them together. Using compound sentences can make our writing more interesting. What if we read these without the conjunctions? What if we just said, the boys went to the park, they did not go to the zoo, we like pizza, we like spaghetti? Does that sound as good as the boys went to the park, but they did not go to the zoo? We like pizza and we like spaghetti. It makes the sentences go together that have something to do with each other. And it makes your writing more interesting to have some compound sentences. Okay, finally, let's look at complex sentences. Could I have Sahanasri read this section for us? Sahanasri, can you read this whole right section that says complex sentence and the examples and tip? Can you hear me, Sahanasri? Sahanasri, can you hear me? Okay, we're having some issues, it looks like, with Sahanasri's. Kruti, would you read the part about complex sentences instead?
Okay. Complex sentence contains an independent clause and a dependent clause. Dependent clause begins with subordinating conjunction.
Excellent.
Examples. Because the boys went to the park, they did not go to the zoo. The boys did not go to the park because they went. No, the boys did not go to the zoo because they went to the park.
Good. Yeah, basically those two sentences are exactly the same, right? We just switch the order of which clause comes first. Go ahead and read the tip as well.
Tip. Look for these subordinating conjunctions. After, before, because, although, when, since, if, whenever, unless, while, so, that, even though, where, wherever.
Very good. Okay, so all of those are subordinating conjunctions. And basically, when you add those, it means that the sentence may have a subject and predicate, but it doesn't stand on its own. Is because the boys went to the park. Does that make sense as a sentence? Because the boys went to the park? It does not. Even though there's a subject of they and the predicate went, with that word because, you're left thinking, because they went to the park, what? What happened because they went to the park? So those subordinating conjunctions have a good purpose. They join that dependent clause with what we call an independent clause. You all know that, independent means I can do this on my own, right? Like if you do some independent work for math, that means you are doing it on your own, not without the help of a teacher, not with the help of a parent. You're on your own doing it. Independent in grammar means the same thing, that it's on its own. Now, dependent means you need some help. So a dependent clause cannot stand on its own. All of you are dependent on your parents. Could you live without the help of your parents to give you your home and your food, all the things you need? No. For those of you who are reading, actually, it's my second group that's reading Oliver Twist on Epic for reading groups. You can see what happens when a child doesn't have their parents. They're dependent on them, or else a lot of bad things could happen. So independent means it stays on its own. Dependent, it needs some support. That is all we have time for with grammar today. So we're not going to get into any of the notes, but we are going to get into that over the next couple of days as we write out some examples of these three types of sentences, which you won't have to learn how to mark yet. This is just going to be a little helpful way of improving our writing. And it also is helpful for the tests that you have coming up, like the next MAP test and the ACT Aspire test. These might be the types of questions that you would have on that. Okay? Yes, Kruti?
When is the ACT test?
We don't have the specific dates yet. It will be sometime in April or May. Okay, at this time, let's stretch and say our poem, and then we're going to jump into a little bit of roots and then write our words in orthography notebook, okay? Samhita, would you say our Jimmy Jet poem for us, please?
Jimmy Jet and His TV Set by Shel Silverstein. I'll tell you the story of Jimmy Jet, and you know what I tell you is true. He loves to watch his TV set almost as much as you.
He watched all day and he watched all night till he grew pale and lean. From the early show to the late show, and all the shows in between. He watched till his eyes were frozen wide, and his bottom grew into his chair. His chin turned into a tuning dial, antenna grew out of his hair. His brain turned into TV tubes.
Mm-hmm.
His brain turned into TV tubes.
His face.
Face to a TV screen, and two knobs saying Bert and Horace grew where his ears had been. He grew a plug that looked like a tail, so he plugged into a gym. Now instead of him watching TV, we all sit around and watch him. Jimmy Jet and his TV set by Shel Silverstein.
Great job. Let's give some heat a hand. That was excellent. Okay, boys and girls, time for us to write our words in orthography, and then we'll do 2 new roots, okay? So first of all, can you open up your orthography notebooks to write down the words from lesson AT1? Show me your notebooks as soon as you take it out and are ready to write your words. Show me your notebooks. Marcus, where's your notebook? Your orthography notebook. Need to see that you've got your supplies, please. And then we'll write some new roots for the week. Good job, Marcus. Okay, quickly open them up and let's begin writing cord. Remember that we use the ch 58 for most of you, I think. Yep, that's right. Page 58. Please write cord for the first word. Cord. Next is embarrass. 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 Next, number 3 is sovereign. Sovereign. And last one, syndicate. Syndicate. I just realized when we were marking our words, we forgot to put a 2 on top of ch. So we'll do that this time.
What page is it?
It should be page 58. So cord, embarrass, sovereign, and syndicate. Should look like this. Cord, embarrass, sovereign, syndicate.
What was the last word?
Syndicate. we won't do any sorting today. We're going to jump right into some roots next. So can you take out 2 new cards? We're going to learn a new Latin word today and 1 derivative. Our new Latin word this week is jungo junctum. It looks like jungo junctum, but we pronounce it jungo junctum. Can you all practice saying that? Jungo junctum. Arshad, would you say those for us? Arshad, please unmute yourself and say jungo junctum.
Jungo junctum.
Good job. So jungo junctum might make you think of like a jungle, but it's not related to that. Or jumping, it's not about that. Jungo junctum means to join, unite, or connect. Join, unite, or connect. Jungo junctum. Remember, Marcus, that this is your time for writing it. These are not on Bright Thinker later today. You need to be writing these now, okay? Jungo junctum, join, unite, or connect. Great job. Yes, Josiah?
This was about
Can you put it in the chat?
Yes, sweetheart, I did. Okay, now this word has eventually become the word join. The word join comes from the Latin, but through French. By the way, this is Latin, so if you don't do it now, later on you can put that red border. It is Latin. Join came from Latin, and then eventually it was French. And we've heard about how when Julius Caesar conquered Gaul, which is what is now France, in about 50 BC, the people there spoke Gaulish, and the Gauls gradually learned some Latin from the Roman soldiers. So that's how Latin kind of entered the area of France. They spoke kind of a version of Latin, which the Gauls learned by hearing and speaking it, rather than having like actual classes where they sat down in school. And so perhaps when a Roman soldier started to talk to the French, that's how they began to have sort of Latin and French blending together. So the word join comes from it, and it means to connect or fasten together. Join, connect, or fasten together. Okay, that is all for our roots today. Jungo, jungtum, which is to join or unite or connect. And join means connect or fasten together. Hold yours up when you're done, please, boys and girls. Marcus, if you don't do this now, you're going to have to watch the video later, and that's going to take so much time. Great job, Samhita and Harika. Marcus, I'm going to have to let your mom know that you'll have to watch the video later if you don't do the words now. Excellent job, everybody. Arshab, did you complete your root cards? They're in the chat as well, Marcus. You've got to do this immediately. When it is time for me to write, then it also means it's time for you to write. Great job, Kruthi. Great job, Sahanasri. Okay. Arshab, can you hold up your cards?
I only have one. I couldn't
Okay,
hear
Arshab,
you. On
just like I mentioned to Marcus, when it is time for me to write, that also means it's time for you to write, okay?
I know I couldn't hear you.
But I have it written in the chat, and I have it written on the screen when I'm writing it for you. So as soon as it's time for me to write, that also means it's time for you to write, okay? Yes, ma'am? Thank you. Okay, boys and girls, it is now time for math. I would love for you all to now take out your notebook and workbook. Great job, Aryansh. I hope that all of you had a chance to watch the video on kilometers and meters. Did you all get a chance to watch that along with doing your workbook pages on Friday? Okay, if not, I'm going to play it for us now because I think it is one of the most helpful ways of remembering each of the types of measurement for length in the metric system. Okay, I'm going to present over to my screen. Hopefully this also gives those of you who didn't finish your roots. Did you finish them now? With them being written in the chat? Excellent. Okay, so we are going to watch this song. If you haven't already, it would be best to pin the screen so that you can see this well. Now, this is not just helpful for learning meters. We're going to find out that when we do liters this week, measuring liquid, and grams, measuring mass, how much something weighs, you're going to use a lot of these same exact words. Kilo, centi, milli. You're going to hear those words come up again when we get into those types of measurements.
Ten is decameters. 110. 100. 1,000 is millimeters. 1 decameter is 10 meters. 1 hectometer is 100 meters. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. And here is how we remember 1,000. Kilo. 100. Hecto. 10 is decameters. 1 cent. Deci. 100. Centi. 1,000 is millimeters. 1 decimeter's 1/10 of a meter. 100th is a centimeter. 1 millimeter's 1,000th of a meter. And here is how we remember. 1,000, 100, 10 is decameter. 1/10, 100, 1,000 is millimeters. 1,000, 100, 10 is decameters. 1/10, 100, 1,000 is millimeters.
Pretty catchy, right? Does that really stick into your head? That really sticks in mine. Okay, so what is 1,000 meters? Who can tell me? Arshad?
Kilometer.
Good. What about 100?
Hecto.
What is 100 meters? Harika?
Hector.
1,000. Kilo. 100.
Hector.
Hecto. Hectometer. 10 meters is what, Aryansh?
Decameter.
Decameter. Very good. 1/10, meaning it takes 10 of them to equal 1 meter, is what, Alexander?
Centimeter?
Oh, not quite. Okay, let me help you with the song. 1,000, kilo, 100, hecto, 10 is decameter, 1/10. Remember? Decimeter. That's okay. That one is not used quite as often, but that's the one that they said it's about the length of your hand or the distance across your hand. That's about a decimeter. Now, what's even smaller than that, Alexander? It takes 100 of them to equal a meter. Centimeter, that's right. And even smaller than that, it takes 1,000 of them to equal 1 meter. Emma?
Millimeter.
Good, millimeter, which is just like the little tip of your fingernail. What your whole fingernail is about a centimeter, just the little tip, fingertip, is a millimeter about. All right, let's say them all together. Kilometer, hectometer, decameter, and then they don't say this in the song, but meter would come next between decameter and decimeter. And then decimeter, millimeter, or sorry, centimeter, and millimeter. We are going to be working with distance and units of measurement for that today. We will be writing a little bit in our notes, I believe, but we're first going to be just looking at some pictures to help you visualize what each of these units of measurement is. I think that video does a good job of it, but we're going to get into some pictures next. Yes, Aryansh?
I made my own eraser that everyone could try to make.
I'd love to see it.
So it has that green part that is supposed to be on a pencil. But if you take it out, then it would just kind of stick to this. And then you just have to put another one of those and then just fit that in. Then you make your own eraser.
Oh, nice. So just with the metal part of the pencil, putting little erasers on each side.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, boys and girls, please pin my screen, the presentation screen, if you haven't already. We're going to take a look at some images of each of these units of distance. Okay. Samhita, would you read this little section for us first?
This drawing shows 1/10 of a meter stick, a decimeter.
Good.
It has 10 centimeters, cm, and each of those centimeters has 10 millimeters. That are just about the thickness of a dime.
Wow, that's tiny, the thickness of a dime. So here is 10 centimeter section of a metric ruler. If you have a ruler, take it out now.
I have a measuring tape.
Or measuring tape works as well. Yep, that's what I have handy right here. So find 10 centimeters on your ruler or measuring tape. For me, it's this distance. And once again, that makes sense. It's about the width of your hand. My hand is obviously a little bigger than all of you, but 10 centimeters is 1 decimeter, and that's about how wide your hand is, just like the video showed. Now, in that 10 centimeter section, each of these is 1 little millimeter. That makes up 1 centimeter. If you have a ruler or measuring tape, check to see if 1 centimeter is about the size of your fingernail, just like the video showed. 1 centimeter should be about like your fingernail, or the top section of your finger at least. That just from that top joint. And then 1 millimeter is about just that little bit of your nail that hangs off, about the size of that. Or if you have a coin handy, about the width of a dime, they said. So if you have a coin nearby, you could also use that for measurement. I don't have a dime, but I do have a quarter right here. And it looks like, yeah, it's a little bigger than a millimeter. A dime is thinner than a quarter. So this, just that width of a quarter, is bigger than a millimeter. It's about 2 millimeters. So it's good to get a sense hands-on, especially if you can, of each of these. So that's about 1 decimeter. 1 centimeter is about the size of the top part of your finger, or a 1 fingernail. And then 1 millimeter is like the width of a dime, or the nail that just hangs off your finger barely. Okay, let's look at this next section. So there's 1 millimeter right there. That would be 5 millimeters. On most rulers, they tell you about the halfway point with that line that is about half as long as this. That tells you where the 5 mark is. Okay, so we've got 2 homes here in a school. Sneha's home is about 1 kilometer or 1 kilometer from Nisha's home, which is about 1 kilometer from the school. And then this distance is about 2 kilometers. The length of a car would be about 5 meters. That pickup truck. And the length or the height of this tree, and we do call it length when it's going this way horizontally. Can you say length? Like you wouldn't say how tall is a snake, but you might say how long is a snake, because you're measuring horizontally. And you wouldn't say how long is a tree, but you say how tall is a tree, because you're measuring height going up. So say length, length, and height. But you use the same way of measuring it, whether it's length or height. The height is about 18 meters. There is the difference between 1 meter and 1 yard. We're going to hear about yards when we get to standard measurement. Does anybody know how many feet are in 1 yard? Tyke?
Three.
Perfect, 3.
I know
So the
because my
standard
dad-
system, yes?
Oh, I know because my dad watches football. He has me watch it with him.
Oh, so you know it from football? That makes sense. Yeah, so they have the yard markings on a football field. So I see Arianch has a yardstick there. I have a yardstick here as well. The exact length of a yardstick is 3 feet or 1 yard. Now, a meter is a little less than that, or sorry, a little bit more than that. So this does not show you a full meter. You would be able to see a full meter on a measuring tape, though. A little bit longer than a yardstick. Okay, let's read this little section on, oh, actually, we're not going to get into grams and kilograms yet. Okay, tomorrow we are going to get into kilograms and grams. And the song that we just sang is also helpful for that. Kilo is 1,000, hecto is 100, tin is deca, deci is smaller, and all of the ones that are smaller than 1 meter or 1 gram have the I at the end, like deci, milli, centi. So that should always make you think, oh, we're working with things smaller than 1 meter or smaller than 1 liter. Okay, so we'll use those to help us with liters and grams when we get into that as well. Okay, we do have a few pages that we're going to get into in our workbook, or sorry, textbook now. You don't have to write anything quite yet. But let's take a look at our textbook. Okay, so a train is about 1,000 meters long. We would call it 1 kilometer, and we abbreviate it as km. We wrote about this in our notes, but wanted to go more in detail about this one since we did not practice that really when we were converting on Friday. Okay, so using this little picture of police station, library, and Ricky's house, we can see that there are kilometers listed and meters. We're going to be talking about how to convert kilometers to all meters or meters to kilometers. Now, the 2 km to kilometers is how many meters? How many meters? Marcus, how many meters are in a kilometer?
1,000 meters.
Perfect, 1,000. So if there are 2 kilometers plus 320 meters, what is that in just meters, Marcus?
2,320 meters.
Perfect, you got it. Now, who can tell me what it would be in meters from Ricky's house to the library? It says 1 kilometer and 470 meters, but what is that in just meters? Alina? Uh-oh. Emma, can you tell us how many meters 1 kilometer and 470 meters is? Remember that this is 1,000. Oh, we're having so many connection issues. Okay, this is thankfully recorded. Samhita, can you hear and see us?
Yeah, I know it's a lot better than
Good. I know a lot of people have had some connection issues. Rishith hasn't been able to log back in for like 30 minutes now, and Alina's gone. Tig, could you tell me what 1 kilometer, 470 meters is equal to in just meters?
Sorry, can you ask the question again?
This distance of 1 kilometer and 470 meters, what is it in just meters?
Well, if it says the answer, it's 470.
So it's 1,470 because we're going to add that extra. we're going to add that extra 1,000 because 1 kilometer is exactly the same as 1,000 meters. And it's 1,470 total. Okay, let's do another one of those. Alexander?
Yay! So,
Yes, I would love for you to tell me what 4 kilometers and 235 meters is in just kilometers.
Kilometers?
I mean, just meters, sorry.
Okay, I'm like, that's not possible.
Yeah, you got it.
4,235 meters. I was about to say kilometers.
4,235 meters. To walk through what you put up here, it's 4 kilometers, which equals 4,000 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add 235. But what I think you're doing, Alexander, correct me if I'm wrong, is just knowing that's going to be in the thousands place of your number.
Yeah, because
yeah, go ahead.
1 kilometer, well, 1 kilometer, sorry, is 1,000 meters. So 4 1,000, that's what I like to say, is 4,000.
Perfect. Once you are familiar with this and become more and more able to just know that that's 1,000, you can just see that the 4 will be in the thousands place. So write that in the thousands place, and then these will go in the rest of the number, hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, we'll get into that practice in a little bit. Let's do one more where it is taking all meters and converting it to meters and kilometers. So if this plane flies about 2,790 meters off the ground, what is that in meters and kilometers? Well, let's do the opposite of what we just did. We have something in the thousands place. We know that that part in the thousands place can be our kilometers. And then the rest of this has to stay meters because there's not enough to convert to a kilometer. So our answer is 2 kilometers, 790 meters. Okay, let's do one like that. Marcus? Actually, I've had you help with one of these. Josiah, could you help with this one? Okay. Go ahead and read this and then tell me what the distance is in kilometers and meters.
The distance from that to school is 5,275 meters. He bikes to school every morning. What is the distance he bikes in kilometers and meters?
Good. So Josiah, let's skip over this section and just focus on what is in the thousands place.
5.
So that can convert to how many kilometers or kilometers?
5,000.
So 5 in the thousands place is going to be 5 kilometers.
Yeah.
And then how many meters are left? $275 meters would be the amount left. Everything not in the thousands place just stays meters. Does that make sense? To go through the rest of the steps, we could say basically there's 5,000 meters plus 275 meters, which is 5 kilometers plus 270 meters. But I think for most of you, you are able to use your understanding of place value and take the thing in the digit in the thousands place. That becomes your kilometers. Does that make sense? Just like we would take this 5 kilometers and we can just move it to the thousands place in a number. in the opposite way. Okay? So actually, we're not going to have any more to write in your workbook for today. We're out of time. But I think that will be clear enough for you all in the pages that you're going to do for your homework today. So for your homework today, you've got pages 27 through 30. So on pages 27 through 30, you're going to do kilometers to meters or meters to kilometers. And focus on place value. If there's 7 kilometers, that's going to end up being in the thousands place. And then this goes right after it. So for 5 kilometers and 26 meters, Emma, what is that as just meters? Emma, can you unmute yourself? If you're not quite sure, I'll help you through it. Now, Emma, 5 kilometers is 5,000. So let's put that in the thousands place for our answer. Do we have any hundreds? Anything in the hundreds place?
No.
Nope, we're going to put a 0 in the hundreds. Do we have anything in the tens place?
Yes.
What's in the tens place?
2.
Good. And what's in the ones place?
6.
Great. Okay, boys and girls, I think it is probably more helpful to do some of these shortcuts to just focus on place value. I do still want you to fill in the rest as you're thinking through what's happening. So basically it's 5,000 plus 26. But focusing on place value, that little shortcut is actually probably going to help most of you even more, would be my guess. Thumbs up if you feel good about thinking of just place value. 5 kilometers is 5 in the thousands place. Okay. And then on the next page, it's the opposite of that. You have 3 in the thousands place. You know that 3 in the thousands place can be 3 kilometers. Okay, so I think that that will help you a lot in your pages. Then the final pages have you walk through, is this about 30 kilometers or 30 meters tall? Remember that a whole kilometer is about the length of a city. So keep that in mind. And then like between the distance between different states, would that be about 470 kilometers or 470 meters? Answer some questions about that. Okay, and then there's a little map and you'll figure out how many kilometers away different things are. Okay, that is what you'll do for your math pages today. Sorry for everybody who had interruptions with their connection. I hope that that was straightforward. Let me know if you've got any questions tomorrow when we go over the pages. Okay, any questions about math? No? Yes, Aryansh?
How long is this unit going to be? Is it going to be pretty short?
Pretty short. We'll finish almost completely by Friday. We'll be done with all of the lessons basically by Friday and take a test next week.
That's as short as our sound and light units.
Yep, it is pretty short. And actually, oh, you know what? It's even shorter than I said because Friday you'll take a little quiz and then we're going to jump into standard way of measuring. So we'll talk about for distance like feet and inches. And so basically it's going to be 2 small units as part of a whole measurement unit.
Oh. So it's kind of like we're done. We're almost done, really.
You know what? We are about halfway through, you could say.
Okay.
Okay, boys and girls, that's all that you need to do for today. I'll start my reading groups now. Have a wonderful Monday, everybody. Thank you for all of you who are watching this on your own. Sorry for the connection issues.
Bye.
Bye.